This talk is sponsored by Decentology. Decentology is the innovative company behind the Hyperverse, the open, composable smart contracts marketplace that makes it easy for developers to build Web3 apps without writing a single line of smart contract code. Learn more at decentology.com.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stepan. I am co-founder of DeepSkills, and in this presentation today, I will be talking about the topic of DAO scalability. Really, the goal of this presentation is to give a few examples and insights in how you can scale DAOs, and I hope this presentation will be helpful and valuable for anyone who is working in DAOs or wants to join a DAO or wants to start a DAO or just generally interested in this topic. So let's begin. I think we all agree that DAOs are amazing. Decentralized autonomous organizations is a new form of internet native organization that is open source, open, transparent, programmable. It is inventing new forms of contributor centered coordination of people around common and shared goals and mission. However, we're still very early in this journey, and there's still a lot of challenges and problems to be solved. For example, communication is quite complicated in DAOs because we still rely on multiple tools. The nature of work in DAO sometimes might feel chaotic and unclear, and really the level of structure in decentralized autonomous organizations is not as good as it is in top-down closed source traditional organizations. And lastly, onboarding and retaining talent is a huge challenge. And I want to focus mostly on these last two topics. And onboarding is hard in DAOs because, first of all, in popular DAOs, there's many more people that want to join and want to contribute. Then there's really time of core contributors and team members to explain and onboard and have one-on-one calls with them. And then retaining talent is hard because DAOs are open, fluid organizations. Anyone can join and leave at any time. You don't have full-time contracts. So that means that um, if you spend a lot of time and money on finding one person, you cannot be sure that they will contribute full time, or they won't leave, or they won't be trying to work with multiple DAOs at the same time. And I think it's great. I think it's sometimes it should be even encouraged. But rather, instead of trying to apply practices of traditional centralized organizations to DAOs, we can also think about new ways of coordination and scaling and onboarding. And that is what I want to talk about. Specifically, I will be focusing on three main areas and three hopefully practical examples that you can go and utilize in your organization. Uh, in the beginning, we will talk about streamlining DAO onboarding. Second, we will talk about DAO native project management tools and practices. And then lastly, I want to focus a little bit on the topic of decentralized professional reputation. So yeah, let's begin. A lot of this information and a lot of these examples is work that's been done in Deep Work Studio, Deep Skills, and in communication and doing projects with a lot of our partners and customers and all of these great organizations that were very helpful, um, that were very thankful for contributing and working with us. So, how can we solve DAO onboarding? Uh, the Usually onboarding is done by one person onboarding another person in one-on-one call. However, this quickly becomes not scalable. And one of the way to scale it is having clearly defined roles. These are real-world examples from different DAOs. On the left, it is PrimeDAO. On the right, there's a Deep Work Studio. And the main idea here is that um, when you have any type of work in decentralized autonomous organization, it is very, very helpful to try and define exactly what this role consists of. And I want to show a practical example from Deep Work Studio, how it works. So in this video, I will be showing just skills and capabilities of a specific role. So in this case, the role is product designer, and then every skill here in bold, it's kind of almost like an instruction. It's an algorithm and set of steps where every step is a specific skill or specific capability that you need to do or you need to have in order to successfully complete the project. And the more detailed this documentation is, the better, because if you have it, all of this written down in some form of Gitbook or Google Doc, first of all, it makes it easy for contributor to understand what it is expected from them. And second, it also makes it much easier to track and keep people accountable in terms of work. But we can move this a little bit further. So let's talk about the topic of DAO native project management. And I will be showing example of the live application. You can go to deepskills.io and play with the prototype and this application. But I will explain generally how it works. So imagine we have these roles clearly defined and already structured. What next? Um, Something that works really, really well for a lot of internet native organizations is splitting all work into separate projects. And projects is defined by having a start and then the end and the set of tasks in between that all contributors need to do in order to complete the project successfully. In addition, project usually has some kind of owner or people who initiate this project. So they are responsible for completing the whole project. But they don't need to do the whole work. And actually, this is exactly how DAOs are able to scale. Once you define the project, let's imagine we need to build a website. And this work consists of many different subtasks, such as creating mockups and programming and buying domain name and creating content and so on. And you, as a project owner, you just create this list of tasks, what need to be done. But then you can open source this project. You can make it open to anyone who is already within the organization, maybe other core contributors, or even people who want to join your DAO and they have specific set of skills. So when newcomer joins this project, first of all, they see types of roles and tasks that are needed to complete the project. And then they can directly apply to do some of those tasks. They can say that I'm designer, I can do all tasks that are design focused, or they can choose one specific task, or they even can choose to do zero task and just do no tasks and just shadow the project to learn and then acquire those badges that are attesting to the fact that they completed or at least they went through the whole project and they now understand how it works. And the important part in how we have it structured in Deep Skills is that contributors are not just applying to the type of role, they're also applying to work with the expert. So we have project owner or coordinator, and then as a contributor, I'm applying to be part of that role, and I'm being mentored by the project coordinator. And that means that also helps scalability a lot because this is how knowledge transfer is happening. Because experts can mentor and help contributors to become more and more proficient with the work that they do. And in this example, it is showing profile page where you can see that there's a person, they completed certain tasks. They can say that they want to do user research, but maybe not all of the user research. They want specifically to focus on interviewing potential customers. And once they complete this project and once they get attestation from the expert, from the existing DAO contributor or team member, they get this information recorded in their profile. So next time, whenever they decide to apply to do work in the same organization or maybe different organization, they can already present this as a proof, saying that I already completed similar tasks and I'm already proficient in this. And that simplifies the process of onboarding people greatly. And this is how scalability can be achieved. But this is not actually the final step. The next step is creating decentralized professional reputation. And really, the problem that we are solving with this solution is very similar. We can look at traditional organizations. In traditional organizations, the job of finding and assessing new contributors and basically scaling an organization is done by the HR department. And usually this is done through mostly, initially at least, mostly through self-reported data. So when you want to join a company, a corporation, you send them your resume, maybe your LinkedIn profile, they will review it, invite you to the interview, and then do some kind of assessment. And this work is, first of all, done in silos. So once you do interview with one company, you cannot take the result of that interview, even if you pass it successfully, and show it to another company. And second, everything from all your professional information and achievements are usually presented in the form of self-reported information. You can write in your resume whatever you want, and then the company, because people sometimes exaggerate or outright lie in their resumes, they need to recheck this information. They need to do reference check, and they need to validate everything that is written in your CV or LinkedIn page. In Web3, we can solve this problem. And actually, not just Web3, but I think Web3 would be the place where this new model will be working initially, and then it can be scaled to other industries. And the main idea here is person, contributor who wants to join an organization, they directly own their digital identity profile. So it's not like LinkedIn page, because this is something that is stored on LinkedIn server. Instead, this is decentralized identity that you control through DADs or through Ethereum account, for example. And then that professional identity consists of a set of verifiable credentials and attestations that are not coming from you as a person, as an identity holder, but coming from other people and other organizations. And in the end, what we get is a very rich professional profile where you have a lot of data recording your previous achievements and work completed and knowledge and values and so on. That is all attested by third parties. And as long as you can trust those third parties, maybe they are well-known decentralized organizations or other people or educational organizations, you can validate professional skills and capabilities of the new joiner, of the DAO contributor very easily. And the cost of hiring new contributor is reduced many, many times. So some of the key characteristics of decentralized reputation. First of all, decentralized reputation has to be verifiable. And that by being verifiable, I mean that all these attestations and badges and credentials should be signed and issued by someone else. So on blockchain Web3 world, it's quite easy to do. We can just have a credential, which is piece of data, for example, saying that you or any contributor worked with our DAO and they helped us to design a website, and we can sign this credential with our multisig account. And that creates immutable proof of contributor completing some work. This proof can be public or private, and that's why what I mean by privacy preservation here is the fact that once the credential is issued to the holder, they can decide what to do with it. They can either hide it and keep it for themselves or share it directly with someone, or they can mint an NFT and have it public and discoverable by anybody on the internet. Another important property, probably the most important one, is portability of this data. Decentralized identity and decentralized reputation should be agnostic of application. It should be kind of like a protocol or a network where data is stored in decentralized network. And in our example, we are using ceramic network and IPFS technology. So it's not stored on chain, but it is stored in decentralized form. And portability allows for any kind of data issuer or credential issuer to record data to the identity holder profile. So if I'm a DAO contributor, I can go to 15 different DAOs and maybe Web3 University and use different tools to collect those badges and credentials in my profile. And in the same way, I can share this information with multiple services and applications to get some value. And Um, and then lastly, the composability characteristic, which is also important because this is this is how Web3 becomes successful. All of this should be open source, and also by making these open source and reusable by any application, we can get to quite interesting properties. For example, if we have a lot of data sources and a lot of data providers for professional reputation and professional identity, we then end up with a situation where we have too much or a lot of credentials, a lot of data in your profile. And then if you share all, maybe you have 100 credentials, if you share all of them with the DAO, that is actually quite time consuming, and it's a lot of work to verify all of that. And instead, what we can do, we can come up with reputation scoring systems. Because the problem with reputation is it is inherently subjective. It is always subjective. But if we create a scoring model that takes into account a bunch of individual credential, individual data points, and then produces some kind of summary version of your skills, then that saves a lot of time to verifiers of this information. And even though every or each of the reputation models, scoring models, can be subjective, if we create an open marketplace where anyone can build their own scoring model, we will get to the competition of those scoring models. And that's what we're trying to achieve. Because by making system composable and open and allowing other developers to build their own scoring models, for example, Git POAP is a great example of an application that is looking into scoring engineering capabilities, or maybe someone is doing similar things for soft skills through staking of reputation. And there's a lot of different use cases. By making them composable, we can create this compounded network effects or network of network effects. And that's what we really want to achieve to create maximum value to internet organizations and therefore help them scale, at least in this area of onboarding contributors and validating their skills and then keeping track of work. And also want to show a practical example of how it looks and also how it works. So in this example, there's a bunch of potential users of the protocol. So let's take example of UX designer. They have a lot of data sources for their reputation. Maybe they're part of Discord server. Maybe they have some contributions on GitHub. Maybe they went through BuildSpace, or they have Missouri account, or they received the POAP, or maybe they're part of Colony DAO organization, or they've used Coordinate to send and receive some gift tokens, or maybe they have a score in SourceCred instance. Or maybe realistically, they probably have all of them, all of those data points if they've been in Web3 for a while. So that means their reputation is already quite rich. And the only task that remains is just combining the data, aggregating the data around the individual, and making it portable. So I can take all these data from all these data sources and bring it to any of these applications. Maybe I want to mint an NFT badge with a score that cumulative score based on all of these data points. Maybe I want to find a job, or maybe I want to join a DAO and complete the work. And then once I complete some task or do some job, I get a new credential issued back to my profile. So that's how we envision professional identity reputation, and we actually started working on this. We're doing this work in a very open manner. So all of this is 100% open source. We developed an application, a demo application, a prototype during East Denver Hackathon. So you can also, I will share a link in the description of the video. You can go and check it out. And there's another link where you can learn more about how the system works. And more importantly, we invite everybody to come and build this, because we believe that LinkedIn of the future won't be built and owned by any single organizations. Instead, it would be more like a network where different companies collaborate, contribute, and receive share of that combined network that solves this problem. Thank you for listening. I have some of my contact information, Twitter and Discord on this slide. Also, please go and visit deepskills.io, where you can find a bit more details and practical real-world examples of what I've been talking about. And yeah, thanks a lot and have a great rest of your day.